In this video, I'm going to talk to you about limerence, which is a very important concept, yet not very well known, that could explain why some people really struggle after a breakup, to recover from a breakup, to heal after a breakup, to move forward, to build healthy relationship. Limerence is what we're going to discuss today. You'll see, you'll learn something new today, not only new, but learn something extremely important in your life.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
Limerence is coming from Dorothy Tanov from the book Love and Limerence. In psychology, we use the word as romantic infatuation, and as I mentioned, it's often referred as a limerent object. It's very important, the object thing. Basically, it's some sort of template in your mind that you create about someone. So you create that framework that you objectify the person, and when you do it, you amplify the good traits of the person, and usually the traits that you lack. And that's the interesting concept. That's the interesting part about limerence, and I'll explain you how it's affecting you right now and how it might affect your future relationships. Sometimes people think it's love, but limerence is selfish. When you create this template in your head, it's because you need that attention. You need your partner to give you things. You need that validation, right? And it's kind of selfish, right? You're using that person to meet some of your unmet needs. In contrast, if you think about love, love is about reciprocity. It's about giving. Love should be selfless, right? And you want what's best for them. So you could have this need for validation and want what's best for them. But you see there's a contradiction here between limerence, which is directed to what can I get from the other, with love. How can I be whole with that person? And so when you are in limerence, you're more focused on what the other can fulfill for you. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's unconscious. I see limerence as some sort of a scale, and some people will feel this very strongly. For some other people that will be more subtle, but I think it's very important to understand this, because that could be an eye-opener for other things you need to work on or you have to work on. So how it manifests itself? So you objectify your ex, that's why we call it limerence object. The projection of that person, it's not the person, it's the projection, the entity. You create that sort of an entity here, amplifying those positive traits, putting your ex on a pedestal, something that I say sometimes. And those things are the things that you feel are missing from yourself. Here sometimes my clients are like, yeah, but he's super intelligent, thinking they don't feel intelligent. They are very confident, feeling they lack confidence. They're driven, and so on and so forth. They complement me perfectly. Complement me perfectly. Right? This notion of like, they do things that I can't. And because they do things that I can't, I objectify them. You know, I put them on a pedestal. Because those things I don't feel I'm capable of doing. Right? And this person helps me see those things. Okay? Touching those unmet needs that we discussed. Of course, it stems from childhood. And perhaps you were raised with people who were kind of conditional about love. And some people who feel this way would engage with people who treat them poorly. Because again, if you see your partner on the pedestal, you will try to seek that validation. They are higher value, higher status. And you will accept those things because you seek the validation. Because they have something you don't. Okay? This is obviously self-damaging to your worth, to your self-worth. Okay? So what people do, and it's especially true after a breakup, is we deprioritize our own aspirations, our own goals, in favor of the other. We lose the object, we lose the person, and that's the only thing that matters. I don't care about my mental well-being, I don't care about my physical well-being, I'm obsessed about that person. Okay? That amplifies, especially after a breakup. And so the toxic behaviors, which are very similar, interestingly, to what we call the protest behaviors in attachment theory when it comes to anxious attachment styles, you could get angry that your partner doesn't want to give you what you want. Clingy because you crave that validation. Again, you're seeking, you're trying to get something. Anxious as you struggle to cope with without this intimacy. So, a lot of people, when they have this anxious attachment style, probably that's the case. You're very anxious because it's hard for you to be on your own. You feel that there's a piece missing. Right, and the missing part is your ex. It's actually completely wrong, by the way, but that's what you think. Strategies to cope. First one is to seek acceptance. A breakup, it's about understanding and accepting. Understanding the reason of the breakup and accepting, from your ex's point of view. And also accept what your ex is able to provide. Because if you're an anxious attachment style and your ex is an avoidant attachment style, think twice about what he or she can provide, what he can bring to the relationship. And when we have this dynamic anxious avoidance, very often the anxious try to chase for something from a limerent object, amplifying the good traits, but forgetting the whole things like it didn't work throughout the relationship, but because you were in that some sort of fantasy, that framework that you created that was far from being the reality, and you're attached to this thing. You're intoxicated by the air of being with your ex. I would, in order for you to seek that acceptance, I would frame this as an addiction. It's kind of similar in a way. Because when you are addicted to something, when you're highly addicted to something, you amplify and fantasize on this when you don't have it. It's actually stronger when you don't have it. When you have a craving for, it happens to me quite often, I have a craving for pain au chocolat. I love pain au chocolat. Very often, after I ate my pain au chocolat, I'm not as content. The excitement is less than looking forward to the pain au chocolat. It's very salty, it's very fat. Surf the wave, and again, you can use addiction to this. The idea of surfing the wave, which is like a common image that we use in therapy, is you don't have to suffer and you don't have to deny those feelings. Feelings go and leave. You have to observe them. The urge, let's use the sugar again. The urge that you have, for example, for sugar, usually lasts few seconds, few minutes. If you can hold on for a few minutes, then the urge will disappear. And so you have to observe your thoughts. That's what we do in counseling. Something you can try to do on your own. It's possible to do on your own. You have tons of books on that. But it's really about observing what's going on, rather than neither denying the thoughts or feeling that those thoughts, those emotions are driving your behavior. And that's why it's important to go no contact, because if you're in touch with your ex constantly, you will have a higher intensity of emotions, and that will be harder to learn how to cope with that. Basically, if we look at the surfing thing, when you are on no contact, it's kind of beginners. You have like small waves. When you're in touch with your ex, it's like bigger waves. So you have to first start to surf on beginners waves, and then when you're confident that you can do it, then you can start engaging with your ex, because that will create a lot of friction. there will be disappointments, right? Don't know if it's a good image, but it's an image. Another strategy to cope is to replace the negative behaviors or habits. What I like to do with my clients is say, okay, you can think about your ex, but why don't you put it every morning or every evening, or maybe not in the evening, every lunchtime, you can think about that. And that's it. Rest of the time, you focus on meaningful relationship. I'm sure you have tons of friends. Or if you don't have a lot of friends, if you have like friends, family, where you have, they love you for who you are. You don't have to pretend, you don't have to seek validation. You love them for who they are, and they love you for who you are. So spend time with those people. That will be one way to feel better. And again, remove the triggers and create new association. I know when you've been living in the same flat, a lot of things would make you, drop you back in the relationship, will bring you back because of those triggers. So find ways to, I don't know, some people, they change haircut, they refurbish their home, but try to find ways to change the environment as well. Another strategy is stop judging yourself, especially if you have tendency to be anxious attached. It can happen to anyone. And the reason you feel so strongly is because you're just a human being, right? It's just a question of, right now your role is not to say, I feel bad because I feel this way. That's not the point. The point is like, how can I learn, how can I acknowledge those patterns and take the steps to improve? The mistakes would be to deny those things, to act as if they don't exist, or to be completely driven by those things. Feeling sad, feeling depressed, feeling anxious, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't judge yourself. It's just an emotion, right? I would judge yourself if you don't do anything about that. That's another story. So, of course, I would suggest you to see a therapist or discuss with trusted friends about that. About like this judging element. Non-judging, solution-focused attitude. Reframe it, I have a problem. No, let's look at the solution. Limerence can be harmful to mental health and relationships, and it's probably sometimes that you might create in the next future relationship. So as we discussed, coping strategies, talking to friends or therapists, framing limerence as an addiction, riding the wave, remember the beginner and the advanced, replacing behaviors, and not judging yourself. And remember to seek help if you feel the need, and focus right now on reciprocal and real relationship. Right now your ex is not able to give you a reciprocal relationship, so surround yourself with people who are great, who will make you feel better, whether it's a therapist, your friends, your mother, whoever. But when you have this sort of relationship where you don't have the idea that I need that person, I objectify that person, just, be with the person, enjoy the time together on the same level. I hope you learned something new today. Let me know in the comment section if it's the first time you've heard about this term, limerence, and how it helped you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
For a long time, get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.